Goeienaand, baie welkom by Fokus. Ek is Lenet Francis Peuren. 'n Politieke storm het losgebars oor die kop van die DA-burgemeester van UMngeni munisipaliteit in KwaZulu-Natal. Die ANC sê hy is 'n rassis nadat hy glo na die ANC verwys het as paddas. Boonop het die ANC nou aansoek by die munisipale afbakeningsraad gedoen dat die UMngeni munisipaliteit opgeneem word in die Mpophana en Impende munisipaliteite. Maar dis nie die rede hoekom Pappas se naam op baie mense se lippe is nie. Fokus se Wanie van die Juffer het gaan uitvind wat die mense in onder meer Howick van Pappas te sê het. Ons wil net daarop wys dat hierdie berig nie handel oor partypolitiek nie, maar eerder oor 'n jong burgemeester wat skynbaar sy pligte ernstig opneem.
Talle inwoners van die UMngeni munisipaliteit in KwaZulu-Natal sê hulle het hoop vir verandering nadat 'n bloedjong burgemeester hier ingesweer is. Mense van UMngeni wat met Fokus gesels het, sê Pappas, die burgemeester en sy onderburgemeester Sandile Nkati werk met 'n plan en 'n strategie en hulle is nie bang om hulle hande vuil te maak nie. Maar Pappas meen dat as mense net hulle werk doen, kan die haaglike stand van dienslewering in die land omgedraai word.
So what's been nice about the new administration is that together with the dialogue and the plot and the ideas flowing and all those kind of things, there's actually action on the ground. There's budgets allocated to things, there is resources made available, and the executive, the management of the municipality are all buying into that process, which is wonderful to see because they do what they do well, we do what we do well, and together we can actually do far more. And so there definitely has been a big change with the new administration.
The first thing was to bring some sort of stability, both politically and in the administration. It's my job as an elected representative to deliver on that as best as possible. Balancing priorities, balancing needs, addressing issues of past imbalances. I think the plan and the strategy is about unpacking and understanding the individual components that make up your municipality. And what those components mean for service delivery, what they mean for the deliverables that ultimately have effects on people's lives. So if you don't have tractors, you can't cut the grass, you can't cut the sports field, you can't plow the field. If you don't have stormwater pipes that are cleared, then you can't fix the roads. It washes into people's homes. The rivers get polluted. So there's all these different facets, and you have to break your municipality down into each individual components. Understand that all of them are highly complex. Then it's never just as easy as it seems. I know that where there's problems, there's solutions, but you have to understand those problems to make them.
UMngeni munisipaliteit se 27-jarige onderburgemeester Sandile sê hy en Pappas is gereed om alle probleme uit te wis.
It has its own challenges. Over the past years, there was no maintenance. For example, so when we took over power, the roads budget was at 10 million rand. We've doubled that since we've come in because we understand the extent of the work that still needs to be done. We're nowhere near there. So I'd give a rough estimate and I would say about 80% of our road network needs serious attention. And we've started off with a few projects. We are working on rehabilitating as well. So that means in some instances you have to rebuild the road from ground up. Because it's in such a bad way. So that is definitely one of the most challenging things. Electricity and electrification, new connections, we've done quite well, and I think I'd say about 90% of the municipality has access to electricity. So funny enough, whereas in most municipalities it's the other way around, ours still remains to be a road challenge. We also, and when people talk about roads, they often talk about the surface only. We also have an issue with stormwater drainage, so we've been doing a lot of jet blasting because what you find is that the water sits on top of the surface and that makes sure that the road deteriorates at a faster pace. So that's what we've done, and we've concentrated a lot on buying yellow plant and equipment. So this year we're going to spend about 20 million rand on just ensuring that we have excavators, we have TLBs, we have trucks so that we can do the roads in-house. We've been outsourcing a lot of our work and that's really costly. And so that's why we decided to buy this processing plant so that we can do it ourselves and save some money.
I take a lot of pride and put a lot of effort into the municipal budget. I go through it line item by line item, do a lot of Googling and macro catalogs to make sure that the pens are not overpriced and the things that we're buying add value to the people of UMngeni, and it's exciting when you do that, because then you can really start to, 10,000 rand towards a person with a disability to buy a wheelchair it doesn't seem like a lot of money, but it's profound, it's life-changing for that individual. And if you can save something over here, or balance something and do as much as possible for as many people as possible, then I think you're starting to do what local government is supposed to.
His name's Travis. Basically wafika kumasipala mina ngahamba ngale wheelchair
Imtiaz Sooliman, 'n inwoner van Howick wat met 'n gestremdheid lewe, sê hy sukkel al jare om uit sy huis uit te beweeg weens die toestand van die paaie waar hy woon. Hy het onlangs 'n nuwe rolstoel ontvang om sy lewe makliker te maak. Pappas sê die plaaslike regering is nie net aangestel om dinge te herstel nie, maar om sy plaaslike burgers in alle omstandighede by te staan.
Ngijabulile kakhulu ngoba le ekade sengiyisebenzisa IBC ngihluphe kakhulu ngasakwazi ukufikelela la ngidinga ukufikelela khona. So njengoba namhlanje ngiyitholile la sekuzoke kube ngconywana, ngizizwa ngijabule kakhulu. Qinile zokwazi ukuthi ngihlale nje njengokuyimanje ngihlele kuyona, ngiyazizwa nje ngihappy kakhulu. Engakusho ukuthi nena mangase bake bafike emakhaya abo njengoba ufikile umasipala nje la, so uyibonile indlela engiyisebenzisa. Mangase kube khona indlela ukuthi kulungiseke izindlela, amthela umuntu afikelele etiyeleni ngoba asihlale endaweni ezifanayo. So njengale yami yabona ukusuka nje la mhlambe u5 minutes ukufikelele etiyeleni, so le ndlela ayikho strong ngalo ndlela ukuthi umuntu engahamba nje ngayo nje akhuleka. So kuyakuza kube ngcono mangase ike ilungiseke nje, bangase badile nje nalokho ukuthi zilungiseke nje indlela ngoba but akuyona indlela ende kakhulu.
We are a public institution. We are the people's institution. It's not my municipality. It's not my political party's municipality. It belongs to the people of UMngeni. And through public participation, through listening, you understand what people want to see and what people expect from their municipality.
2002 uqala kwayonje ngizoqala ukuthi ngisebenze nje kakhulu, qala ngisebenzele ekhaya kakhulu, kodwa ngabuya ngamuva ke ngo2009 sengize edrobheni sengizoqala ukusebenza kakhulu. Saqala sanama challenges eCovid, kwanzima kwangasebenzeka. La sathi sibabaza iCovid kwafika ilooting, la saluthelwa khona yonke into, kwaphela konke. Kwayisikhathi esinzima esidlula zonke izikhathi, la kwaphela khona konke, ngisho imishini bayilutha, imaterial balutha ama-attire, izinto zemshado kwakugcwele khona konke yonke into yami yaphela, impilo yami nje back to square one. Nakuba ngikhulumela umkhandlu umasipala wethu obonakala uqhamuka kulobo bunzima, sesiclaime endaweni eziningi singathola ukusizakala.
Die burgemeester sê om verantwoordelikheid vir besluite te neem is een van die maniere om dinge in UMngeni reg te ruk.
In our 5 years is going to be fixing the things that are on paper, fixing the systems, the processes, the controls, the computers, the things that you don't see as a resident, that are fundamental to a business, which we are, a non-profit business, functioning. So they're not sexy. Politicians want to open stadiums every day and they want to hand out food parcels and all those are easy things. Those are really easy. But the difficult thing is doing the things that you know have long-term positive effects on your community and your municipality.
Net hierna in deel 2 van haar verslag vind Wane uit wat gedoen word om weer lewe te blaas in toerisme in Howick. Bly gerus ingeskakel. Welkom terug. Toerisme was nog altyd 'n belangrike bron van inkomste vir Howick, wat ook onder die UMngeni munisipaliteit val. Dis veral omdat oud-president Nelson Mandela 61 jaar gelede in 1962 buite Howick deur die apartheidsregering se sekuriteitsmagte in hegtenis geneem is. Die UMngeni munisipaliteit se burgemeester Pappas wil nou ook hierdie besienswaardigheid en Howick as toerismebestemming bevorder. Wanneer van 'n Jefer is weer aan die woord.
UMngeni is bekend vir die Howick waterval en die Middelland kronkel. Een van die burgemeester se groot vooruitsigte is om die toerismebedryf weer aan die gang te kry, omdat dit die grootste bron van werkskepping is.
The Midlands Meander is maybe a brand that many people have heard about, and that encompasses pretty much Umngeni as a municipal area. And so it is very important. I stand corrected, but I think it's the highest sector that offers employment to the area. So we employ the most number of people in the area. And so it's a massive, massive part of Umngeni's tourism.
Tourism is the lowest hanging fruit. We have the biggest opportunities here to get people to come here, and I'm never afraid to say this, that there's no need to go to Durban. When you're traveling from Gauteng, stay here and spend a day in Durban and come back, because all you're going to do there is swim in the sea, maybe go to Gateway. But here there's so much to do. There's choices for families, there's choices for young people, there's choices for senior citizens. There's cycling and riding and history and culture and arts and breweries and wineries and hiking. It's just, there's so much to do. And if you can expand on that and utilize that, you start to grow your economy.
Umngeni municipality, Umngeni tourism. I've got some really, really good plans to expand tourism and to be able to just add the value and get people to realize this is a good spend of their money. It's going to do them well to come here, to spend time in the Midlands. Chris is busy with is around the Howick Falls. I think there's more that he's busy with, and I realise that. But I mean, the Howick Falls itself, it's only one of 2 towns in the world that has a waterfall in the town. And if you speak to people for generations that used to drive from Joburg to Durban, they would stop at Howick Falls. And so it's a massive tourism attraction, I believe. But we then need to harness that. We need to make that experience amazing. And people need to be able to come there, spend time there, feel safe there, and enjoy this beautiful waterfall. And then from there, it will be a platform where they'll expand into the rest of Umngeni's areas and experience the other things we have to offer for tourism. I was really impressed with Chris. He came to a tourism workshop that we had, and he facilitated a session. And what really excited me about the session, and along with JP Prinsloo, who's the heads up Umngeni tourism, was that they were collecting the stats. So once we have the stats, we've got the information we need to be able to make informed decisions.
Maar almal voel nie opgewonde oor Pappas se administrasie nie.
About a year and a half ago, we had a meeting with the mayor to bring in ideas on how to uplift Howick Falls, because the whole world comes to Howick Falls. We've got visitors from all over the place and all over the world. So incidentally, it's a national monument. As we speak to this day, I've had no support whatsoever. I've been to the offices, I've tried to get some tools, some items and stuff like that, but nothing as yet has happened. So in the meantime, I'm just carrying on with what I do, simply because I have a passion for Howick Falls. I'm starting just by doing simple weeding and making the place a bit more tidy, because no one seems to be doing anything at the moment. I'm just hoping that maybe more involvement could happen so that we could get more interest and drive more interest to Howick Falls.
Die burgemeester en sy onderburgemeester sê hulle moet harder werk om mense se respek te kry, omdat hulle onder die ouderdom van 35 jaar oud is.
I think it's more internally than anywhere else. So a lot of the staff are much older than I am. And so I have to play oversight on some of those individuals. And sometimes, I've had to be critical of some of those individuals. Some of them haven't taken criticism lightly, simply because of the fact that, let's face it, in black culture, it's not often that someone who's older will listen to someone who's younger outside of the work environment. And now they are saddled with this at the time, 26-year-old, not barking instructions, but sort of saying this is the direction we want the municipality to move in. And I won't lie, there was some form of resistance in the beginning from several older staff members. And we got that throughout the municipality, and I think Chris to a certain extent as well. But in a way, you just have to be strong. We're there to serve a purpose. Whether we're not there to make friends, we are colleagues, and there's no reason for us to be enemies. But we had to be strong and say, no, this is how we want things to be done. And so there've been a lot of uncomfortable moments in that sort. Funny enough, in the community, that resistance isn't there in the communities. The communities are very receptive of us, which is quite interesting. So it's always been within the institution itself.
I think that I do have to earn my respect in some circles, but I've never had opposition. I think that my opposition, as my political opposition, use it as a tool sometimes against me, but that it hasn't worked. South Africa is hungry for energy and enthusiasm, for people who are, a little less grey, to be in positions of power and influence and maybe can move things a little bit quicker. So, and I'm not 22. I'm 31 years old with a degree, having had 15 years, working. So I'm there. I can show that I've achieved what I have. I'm in a position that I can do something.
Bly ingeskakel, net hierna praat ons met Gift of the Givers oor die gevegte in Khartoum in Soedan. Ons is nou terug. Tientallen Suid-Afrikaners is op pad terug na Suid-Afrika nadat hulle onder uiters gevaarlike omstandighede ontsnap het uit Khartoum in Soedan. Ewige gevegte het op Saterdag 15 April uitgebreek tussen die Soedanese weermag en die paramilitêre mag, die Rapid Support Forces, oftewel RSF. Om meer te hoor oor die omstandighede in Soedan en die jongste nuus oor die ontruiming van Suid-Afrikaners en ander buitelanders, praat ons nou met Gift of the Givers se Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman. And thank you so much for joining us this evening. I believe there's been an escalation of the shooting, which obviously deepens the humanitarian crisis in Sudan.
Good evening. Yes, we had a problem yesterday. The third bus to take out the remaining South Africans had to be stopped. The bus company was very good with intelligence services on the ground, told us the bus will come in an hour. Then he said, let's wait 2 hours. And then he said, let's wait 3 hours. And then we asked him, why, what's going on? He said, my friend, there's aerial bombing everywhere. There's shelling everywhere. There's skirmishes all over. They're fighting on the outskirts of Sudan. I can't take a risk with your people in that kind of condition. If you don't mind, let's wait till tomorrow. This morning, early in the hours of the morning, the South African team members started getting messages from the Sudanese people, their friends, and it was visible on the road. There was huge troop movements, armored personnel carriers, tanks moving into the center of Sudan. And the message was, they're going to clear up the balance of the resistant forces in the next 48 hours. And whoever's there must please stay inside, don't come out. So you could see the movement, but fortunately, as we were leaving Sudan and the last bus has left, it's already crossed over the border of Sudan towards the border. It's safe, but you could see all the movement. So we expect major activity between today and tomorrow.
I understand at the border of Egypt that a lot of not only South Africans, but the other international victims that were trying to leave the country, that a lot of them are undocumented.
Yeah, that's a big problem. That's a huge crisis. Some people have been waiting 4 days, 5 days to get out. It's very hot there. There's no food and water available. It's very tense conditions. And it's tough for the people. Unfortunately, many people who have been there, they give their passports into like equivalent of a Home Affairs to get a residence permit or a work permit. And when this war broke out, a lot of people's passports were caught inside in the government buildings, which are now closed. In fact, yesterday I was asked to take out 2 people from another nationality. And I asked, where's their passports? And they said they gave their passport to some person who promised them he will give them a ride to the border. That person disappeared with their money and their passports. So those are the kind of challenges that we have. Now, one good thing is that at the border itself, we have a queue for foreign nationals and you have a queue for local people. The queue for foreign nationals is not very long, but it wasn't moving fast. Our people were there at 9:30 on Tuesday morning. They only went through close to 1:30. But that's still, in 4 hours is relatively very good compared to some people waiting 18 hours, 2 days, 3 days.
The shortage of water, of food and access to medicine, how does that impact the work that you're trying to do right now?
We're not doing any work in Sudan. We're not even there. We only got involved because South Africans started calling us on Monday, the 17th of April, and it was absolute panic to say we don't want to die here. One person called and I thought, okay, what's not so major. And then suddenly, later into the week, we started getting more calls, and then we realized there's an all-out war in the country. So when we got involved, this is supposed to be a government responsibility, not ours. So when we saw that people in panic, we started holding their hand, working with them, and within a few days we got sucked into the program. And it was on Monday, and over the weekend, we said, look, we tried all options. We said, to get out, we need to go to an airport. The main airport was bombed. It was not functional. And then we found 2 smaller airports, or airports outside Hilton. But once arrangements were being made, the forces started fighting outside those airports, so you could not use them. It's only 65 kilometers away. The last option was to use buses and to choose now where are you going to go? Is it Egypt, Port Sudan, Chad, Ethiopia, Kenya, or South Sudan? And eventually it was, let's use Egypt West option. Then you couldn't get buses. No buses were available. No buses wanted to come from outside. One of the South Africans who works for the company said, okay, please get the buses. We got the buses. A few hours later, the compound where the buses stayed got bombed. All 17 buses got destroyed. And then we found another company that gave us the buses, and fortunately on Monday, those 2 buses left. So, it's been a really trying time. In terms of distribution, you can see the Sudanese are in trouble. There's no food, there's no water, there's no medical services, hospitals are non-functional, hospitals are bombed, infrastructure is bombed, buildings are bombed. It's fighting in the heart of the city. It's not like on the outskirts or the rural, between 2 countries. It's inside, right in the main centers.
Thank you so much for that update this evening. Gift of the Givers, Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman. Thanks for joining us. Ongelukkig moet ons dit daar laat. Dis vanaand ook die laaste keer wat Fokus op 'n Woensdag aand uitgesaai word. Vanaf volgende week kan jy op 'n Vrydag aand om 8:30 hier op SABC 2 by die Fokus span aansluit. Onthou Fokus is daarom nog ook steeds op YouTube beskikbaar. Ons groet dan tot volgende week. Knoop jou oor, maak 'n aantekening. Dis Vrydag aand 8:30. Tot dan. Tot ziens.